Hello, my name is Dog Crazy, and welcome to Aquatempes, Episode 1. Basically, Aquatempes is a world that I've been working on for like 2+ years now, and it's this giant conglomerate of districts and other impressive builds that me and my friend King Mango have been working on. And I would like to show you all and eventually turn this into a series where I do a bunch of practice. So let's dive into our first district. The Beach District is the district that is the first district and right down the road from some of the future districts that we'll get to later. This is the big main road. It's very fun. It's a moss and sandstone mix that I just love. And basically the thing with the Beach District is it was the original district. And the original district used to be where a village was. So you can still see remnants. There's that house there and half of a house that we call the halfway house right here. And basically we designed a new house design, which was this house. It was our first house. And we basically just replicated it a bunch of times in different shapes, which was a lot of fun, and built on the existing village paths. And another nice thing about that is we eventually built the library. And the library is huge, very cool. You have a secret little Easter egg. This cow walked in while we were building. Don't ask. With an alarm system set up, and also a secret door, which you guys don't get to see yet. And the nice thing about that is this is a really fun centerpiece. And so this is basically where we designed the entire idea for the rest of the districts to form off. Is there'll be one main centerpiece, a couple other cool buildings like this dock, the boat, and the statue, and this big district would become the model for which all the other districts would come off. So here we have a little market, and we planned a couple other design of houses that we haven't really built yet. There's also a courthouse in here, which I love because I got to use looms as the backdrop, which is really cool. As well as a casino, which is partially under construction and not that functional, but also still a casino. And we also have the mossy stone mountains, which were originally just regular things, and we did this. We came up with a whole religion and a temple, which basically makes this the Valley of the Gods and stuff. There's a lot of lore. These are also just statues of dogs that we love. And basically that is the Beach District, which is the first district. Next district is the New York District. The New York District is really fun because it is my favorite one so far. Me and King Mango, we both finally learned a bunch of texturing and gradients, which is where you see the first New York District building, this one here. It's got a rough gradient with glass that I copied from Mumbo Jumbo, basically. But it then became this whole thing where you have these colorful townhouses up front across the bridge, and you have these really tall buildings, which I personally love. And then you have this school with the cool clock tower on top. You have a couple residential buildings. You have the giant museum, which is the focal point of this one. You have the flower center. You have the really fun, this is one of my favorite builds. This is basically modeled after a shorter version of the Flatiron building, but this is the I forget what to call it, the department store. This is the department store, and the department store is not finished interior, as most of these are. Basically, the interiors aren't fully finished because we're all waiting for the cushion update in order to be able to make all the seats seatable. But in this tall tower complex, you have these two, which they have a basic interior and stairs that go up, but most of it is just not finished furniture and stuff because we're not ready. In here you have the tower, which literally has a working elevator inside, thanks to Tomco for the design. Yep, Tomco elevator system. And it's really fun because the New York District, I really got to experiment with gradients and viewpoints and a bunch of fun advanced building stuff. Now it's on to the next district. The next district is the Factory District. The Factory District is like a mini district. It's kind of a sub-district of the New York District, but it gets its own place here because it is so different, basically. So you have the Cookie Factory as part of Cookie Co. with the cool cookie flag. And on top there's a little hidden parkour detail. And this at night, the lights flash, which is really fun because it looks like, you know, like on top of really tall towers when you don't want light to, like, things to hit it. And this factory is a mining factory. Both of these do not have interiors, which kind of a shame, but this is kind of like a work in progress district. And then over here you have the mines, which is basically where we let one of our friend's little brother, like, let loose and experiment with stuff. So it's basically like a hodgepodge of, like, little projects and stuff, but it goes pretty far and windy, which is complicated, but it still looks pretty cool. Okay, the next one is the castle. The castle is the big building from which all the other districts span out around it, and the castle is very important. So you have the train system that goes from the factory district all the way into the future districts, and you have it cutting straight underneath the castle to the castle stop. But the most important part is that my redstone actually works. I'm more of a builder than a redstoner, but I managed to design a gate system that actually opens when you press the greenish-bluish button. It opens. It's very laggy because it's bedrock redstone, but it looks really cool, and it actually also closes, which it's very hard because you have to get the pistons to push. It's complicated. Very broken, as you can see, but it still works perfectly fine. The interior of the castle is very special because the castle was one of the first interiors I did, and so it's a very young person vibe. I mean, you have the straight gold blocks and the quartz and the red carpets, but overall it is just a castle, which looks really funny when short little me is standing in it. I love my character. And then you head this way, you have a storage area along with a armory and also a map room, which this is the map of the entire place. This is the beach district, the factory, and all the other districts. This also just goes up top to a viewing point of which you can see all across the land. Next up, you have the second tower, which I'm actually going to have to fly around to get in because there's no back entrance. But the second tower is basically like a lived-in, like, spiraling staircase of buildings and stuff that just keeps going up and up and up until you get to the top where there is just nothing, but you can see pretty cool view from up high through the districts. So basically, in order to get to the future districts, you have to come through the New York district and over the red roads of the New York, and you'll get onto the more modern looking but rough roads of the National Park District. National Park District is the first of the two future districts because it's in a bit more built. So this is the Wispin Woods National Park. It's basically an area of the forest and the mountains. So you have Mount Bulon, Mount Lushmore, which is the one with my head on it and soon to be King Mango's head as well, and as well as some unfinished, really cool giant redwood trees. And inside of Wispin Woods Visitor Center is just like a cute little thing that you can explore. And then out the back door, there's also the horse stables, which you have my horse, which is Frost Titano. But basically, this district is very fun because there's a bunch of paths. And I can show you the most future part. So up here, You have the fire tower, which is modeled after a fire tower I've actually visited, and I love fire towers. Over here you have just some walks through the cliffs and there, and then finally you have this path, which basically takes you through the birch forest back here and out onto the biggest part of this mega project, which is going to be the Misty Mountain. So you have this cute little bridge over to this mossy area with these white diorite cliffs and the, I forget what these flowers are called, the lilacs and peonies. I believe these are peonies, right? Yeah, peonies, with lilacs and peonies. And these basically are going to cover this entire area up until here. We're going to put a massive mountain with hopefully some cool castle ruins or something on the top, just something to throw in a bit more jazz. But this area is definitely a big work in progress. And that would be the first half of the Future District, the Whispered Woods National Park. But you also have, off of the National Park District's road, a more kind of Roman-looking, older, which is exactly what this is. This is the Venice/Rome Colosseum District, which is one of the biggest ones we have plans for, but it's going to take a little while to come. But there's going to be basically a large vineyard here leading down into this giant area where if you go off the main road, there's a bridge and then this really cool like bird statue as you enter in. So basically we have some ideas for how the buildings are going to look. You have like a sort of more Venetian style, which we also have a representation of over here, and a lot of plans for where the buildings are going to go and stuff. But you also have this more Roman style building, which I love, which is basically, this is the big train station in Rome. Yes, I know train station in Rome makes no sense, but you have our train over here, totally a train. Look, it's totally a train, which is just a happy guest. But, oh, there's a dog. Sorry, don't get distracted, dog crazy. And this train's going to stop here, and then there's going to be another one that crosses into what we haven't even planned yet, just something across the way. And then there's going to be two large main districts. So off of this square, there's going to be a large, like, clock tower sort of thing, similar to the one that is in Venice. I don't remember what it's called. But then over here is going to be the biggest project, which is King Mango's working on. It's going to be a masterpiece. It's going to be the Colosseum, basically, which is going to be huge. We have plans to add the new, whatchamacallit blocks, cinnabar blocks, and a lot of sandstone and a bunch of cool stuff. And this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to continue doing this under the AT hashtag and then whatever the episode number is. And I hope you'll come back and watch the updates. Thank you so much. This is Dog Crazy, and this was Aquatempes.